Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. So yesterday I was walking and my partner and I were walking our dog, and I couldn't believe how cold I was. Um, Thinking, my God, it's kind of almost middle May, and uh, just I'm wearing a hoodie and a windbreaker, and I was amazed and feeling a little like disappointed. Like, geez, I thought we were through this. Um, which is a kind of a disturbing kind of feeling that just kind of cropped up on my mind. Just kind of popped in there. So, um, what I want to talk about today is feeling restricted, feelings of uh, not getting our way, feelings of our freedom being uh, really paralyzed. If you've ever been in a situation where you really wanted to do something and you couldn't because of the other situation, whether it was an accident or, I don't know, someone refuses to go along, right? Um, and these are hard situations because we can sometimes feel like our freedom of choice and our freedom to do things that we want to do is constrained by others. Uh, and it also has a strong feeling of powerlessness too, um, especially when we really care about this person. And in my field of work, caregivers are often the people who experience this. Caregivers over many years can experience this because of the ailment that's going on in their family. And there's strong feelings that come up with this, very strong, and a lot of anger. A lot of anger comes up. A lot of shame comes up, um, and frustration. Um, there's a parable that I'm trying to find here that speaks to this. Okay, here. A lame woman came to the Buddha, her weary face, her robe dusty from the road. She had been caring for her elderly parents for many years, tending to them through illness, forgetfulness, and decline. She bowed before the Buddha and said, Lord, I have tried to follow your teachings. I offer food to the monks, I recite the precepts, I practice mindfulness, but my heart is heavy. My brothers are free to travel, meditate, live as they please. I'll stop right there. This happens in many families that are caregivers, that there'll be the primary caregiver, and then there will be siblings who may come around. Okay. But I've stayed behind. I cook, I bathe them, I listen to their fears in the night. Sometimes I'm angry with them for needing so much. Sometimes I'm angry with my family for leaving me alone in this. I know I should feel compassion, but instead I feel trapped. Is there a path for someone like me? The Buddha replies, Daughter, when the heart gives and the mind resists, there is suffering. When the heart gives and the mind resists, there's suffering. When the heart gives and the mind understands, there's freedom. Easier said than done. To care for one's parents when done with love and awareness is to walk the path of the noble ones. But you must also care for your own heart. If you pour from the vessel that is empty, what is there to give? When you feed your parents, you can feel in your body the warmth of offering life. When you sit beside them, you breathe and remember this too is practice. And when resentment arises, you can bow to it, not as an enemy, but as a teacher, reminding that you are your own unmet needs. And there is the it goes right to the heart of it. When you're pouring from an empty vessel, what he's talking about is that there's I give, and then I don't have any more to give. I'm empty. And therein rise resentment, anger, frustration. Uh, Circling back around, you have to pay attention to these things. And what is it that I'm neglecting of myself? The person feels trapped because their time is constricted. They have to do certain things. They may be in a very strict routine. So, where is their time for me? Where is their time for me in all of this? And these are hard questions and they're hard to answer because some people have better resources than others. When your service becomes spacious, may your heart be held even though you hold others. When you know that you serve with wisdom is to walk the way. And he's talking really here about reflecting inward. When we're open and we lean into that openness, and what is openness? How do you experience openness? How do you? I'm asking you, when you reflect, how do you experience your openness? Openness, you lean into the heart and you lean into letting go of your story. Even though the situations might be very true and very real, as far as not getting support you think you deserve, or the support you want, or the thing that you want to do and you can't, even those, even those, even that is real and that is experienced, right? And you grip onto it and cling to these. You're clinging to this story that you're creating for yourself, which is causing the suffering. The situation might be there, absolutely. So I am here and I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to ruminate on how I'm going to choke these people out, right? Which is causing the suffering. Why? Because we're clinging to the story that we're telling ourselves. And I am a very, very good candidate for this. When I don't get my way, when I feel very frustrated because I can't do what I win, and when my partner's saying this, or the dog is demanding me to take her out, and I want to watch Star Wars or something, right? Uh, I can just seethe in this idea of, oh my God, again? Who's suffering? I am. The dog doesn't care, right? It's just wagging its tail, as happy as can be, right? The situation is very real, very, I'm experiencing that. And my story makes me suffer. Now, if there's a situation in which you're thinking, oh, I can't do this anymore. We are telling ourselves we have to make a change or we have to stick to it. because we can sit there and cling to the story and you know, suffer with it. But if there's a change to be made, then those are tough, usually tough conversations to be had. The toughest conversation is usually with yourself, because you have to be brutally honest with what's really going on with yourself. These places of anger and resentment build up because of unspoken or unactualized needs. Something's not fulfilling a need that I have, and needs are important. I'm not talking about wants. Wants are different than needs. The fundamental thing with needs is that it stems from ourselves. We are responsible to get those needs met. And one way of doing that is we have to be honest with ourselves about what those needs are, and we have to be expressing in a very compassionate, kind manner of what those needs and how others can help me with those needs. So oftentimes meditation will be able to break through those stories that we cling to. They're very helpful, because what happens is that we get a lot of momentum going. And when we are mindful, or we give our body a minute to just relax, um, go for a brisk run, get that energy out or whatever, and give our moments that then we, with some meditation, mindfulness, get some clarity going on instead of that fog of thought. We're not here not to suffer. It's not a one. It's not that we're not going to suffer in life. This is this is a part of life. It's integrated into life. We're here to learn how to accept that which we suffer, and that's our mind. We suffer from ourselves. We suffer from ourselves. If you are to do one task with love, do it with your whole heart. Otherwise, it is better to leave it undone. This is a paraphrase from an idea on right action. Right? It's Buddhism is I am thankful every day that I walked into this on this path, that I was open enough to come here and take a chance on things regarding myself. Because it's really allowed me to try to understand where it is that I'm coming from. Um, and I'm trying to figure out the why too. Why is it that I do this? Why is it that I do that? And I'm not so sure. I just know that there's a lot of conditioning involved, a lot of conditioning, where we come from, who our parents were, how we were raised, what income level, a lot of conditioning. And that feeds my outlook on life. That feeds into how I perceive the world. In the Buddha, his teachings, it says, yes, that might be true. However, there's other ways of going about it as well. You just have to do the work to do it and to get there. Yeah. Caregivers often say they don't feel seen. It's the most thankless job in the world, that they don't feel very respected. They don't feel that anybody understands. You know, um, and there's a whole lot of people who feel that. Uh, they are seen. They are seen. I recognize. I recognize how difficult it is in this country to be a primary caregiver for the sick and elder. Uh, and I would encourage that when that frustration and anger and resentment comes up, we really look into ourselves, into our heart, and open up to that, lean into it, and discover what it is that our needs are. What is it that we need? Um, I'm going to end on this. If you think that I was separating caregivers from non-caregivers, that's not it at all. Everybody's a caregiver. Everybody. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing in your life. You don't have to be caring for the sick or elderly to be a caregiver. Whatever your employment is, you're a caregiver. You're a caregiver for others at your employment. You're a caregiver to your friends. You're a caregiver to your pets. You're a caregiver to plants. Everything that you do with that open caregiving self. We can't help it because we're a social being. We're very social, right? And it's in our nature to be that way. So reflect on that. Reflect on when I don't get what I want, and I get really angry about, man, they're doing this to me. Or I can't believe, bada, bada, bada. That's a signal to you to ask, what is it that I'm needing? What am I not paying attention to for myself? Those are clues. And when we go into that space, then we reach deeper into ourselves, which is helpful in this liberation. It's helpful to accept ourselves fully. Thank you so much.